God. Let's see. I am resident of Collinwood for YouTube. Joel Saints with my buddy Gordon Dymowski. It's with buddy Patrick McCray. We're here to talk episode 276, written by Ron Sproat, narrated by Catherine Lee Scott, directed by Leela Swift. Jason McGuire meets his demise in this episode, guys. But there's a lot of other cool things that happen in this episode too. We finally get Catherine Lee Scott's character Maggie Evans speaking about Sarah as Dr. Dave Woodard is showing her a picture or a drawing. Sorry, really really cool scenes. We get some scenes in the sanitarium, which is nice inside Dr. Hoffman's office. We've seen those before though, where there is an episode where it's not this episode, it's episode before this one where uh, and her Joe Haskell and Sam Evans come to visit Maggie, but she's not really responding to them. And Dr. Hoffman tells her, "I told you so." But in this episode, you get Maggie Evans speaking. You get the demise of Jason McGuire. They also, by the end of this episode, they bury Jason McGuire's body in the family mausoleum in the secret entrance, the secret hidden entrance where Barnabas's coffin was. So, guys, what did you think of this episode?
Is this on?
Yeah.
Yeah, we see you. We hear you.
Okay, well, I'm ready to start the podcast whenever you are. Jewel, are you going to do some sort of opening?
Yeah, I'm still waiting on Jewel as well, Patrick. But once we get started, we'll be.
Yeah.
Okay. We are. Patrick,
okay, we'll do it without the opener. Guys, this is episode 276, and it's the one where Barnabas kills Jason McGuire, and then we go to a mausoleum, and it's neat. That's the daybook summary.
Yeah, and Patrick, you forgot the end credits.
Oh yeah, they have like these words, they have these names at the end.
Yeah,
that was the cool part. Hey, wait a minute. Hold on. Who wrote this episode, Jewel?
Ron Sproat. Ron
Sproat. You know what? Ron Sproat's a good writer.
Mm-hmm. Yes, he is. Absolutely.
And he is. This is a great episode. We were just trolling Jewel, but seriously, this is swell. And gosh, that Dave Woodard, man, what a character. This is the thing I love about Dark Shadows, is that there's like monsters. But also, the other thing I like about Dark Shadows is that it's so many different shows in one. And whenever I watch, kind of an earlier phase of Dark Shadows after episode 210, I think about myself, watching later episodes, and I'm always kind of sorry this period of the show is over, because each kind of phase of the show has something really unique and wonderful about it. I mean, even the pre-210 stuff, the Shadows on the Wall stuff, can have some really very nice, fine, intricate character work, and it does take its time. It does take its time to give the actors some good red meat stuff to do, and I like that. And watching Robert Garinger as Dave Woodard again, this really reminds me of this great determined force of nature, and the fact that he does die is evidence of how ruthless this universe is going to be on humans, because I think Dave Woodard is pretty much Dave Woodard is pretty much the best that humans will have, short of the super heroic Elliot Stokes or somebody like that. Woodard's a real guy. Elliot Stokes is a Kryptonian. And so I miss that, and I like it. I think if we're going to lose Dave Woodard, is Peter Turgidson, is that his name? Peter Turgeon?
Peter Turgeon,
yeah. Peter Turgeon. It's just as well he's playing it. I'm sure he's a very nice man, but the makeup and glasses and kind of weird strandy hair that looks like it's combed with buttered toast, and in that raincoat hanging around Sarah in the mausoleum. He looks a little sketchy. I'll just say. I mean, come on. He looks a little, you know, and so it's just as well he goes on his way. Then I would have been much sadder to see, Robert Garinger get it. The old commie. Not gonna break that strike line.
Gordon, what did you think?
Well, I thought what this episode needed was more cowbell. No. I thought it was good. I think this is a show where the writers, I think, for the first time, are actually writing about something that they are curious about and that they're interested in. And it's a very, and I mean this as a compliment, it is a very procedural episode.
Mm-hmm.
It is not.
You're a crime show guy, so that is a compliment from you.
It's very much set up as a. There is a most soap operas revolve around problems, and usually it's weddings, divorces. With Dark Shadows, they're trying to go for the gothic, so those are the best they could come up with: bleeder valves and seaweed. But here you've got where it's like, okay, Sprode is actually going, okay, if we're going to have a vampire in modern day, what's the impact on the family and the community, and how are we going to go through it? I mean, the death of Jason McGuire is stone cold classic, because he's been, ever since he was introduced, he wanted to just get rid of him. But you were hoping that like maybe Elizabeth would do something to him, or Carolyn would do something to him. The fact that it's Barnabas and he's like, let's bury him in the mausoleum, because that's really indignant. It's not even like let's give him like let's bury him in a pauper's grave, or let's throw his body out in the street. But like, let's hide him someplace where nobody can find him. And the serious
and it's sad for Barnabas, because he can't go to the mausoleum without smelling the rotten corpse of that guy. So it's a weird little form of self-punishment as well.
Well, you don't know. I mean, maybe Barnabas as a vampire doesn't have a sense of smell. We don't know.
Right.
And I think the Maggie talking about Sarah, it's a way to kind of keep the intrigue going, where later on Dark Shadows we just accept that supernatural stuff happens, but here it's exploring that, okay, what is this really going to be like? And I also think too it's something that I think you see the show enter the phase where it's if 1 to 210 is kind of the soap opera. We tried to be a soap opera. And they weren't quite good at it. It was kind of clunky because it's the first year. It's a shakedown cruise. Here it's the, okay, now we're soap opera, but we can do some supernatural stuff. And let's figure out what supernatural stuff we can do.
That's, this is an interesting question, Gordon. There's one to which I have no answer. And that is, what was the competition like for Dark Shadows in those first 200 episodes? Was there something on the air? I mean, we hear about Secret Storm, and I vaguely remember Edge of Night from when I was a kid. But, was Dark Shadows kind of already doing what something else was doing?
Well, I'm doing a little bit of research, trying to think if I can find something that says, well, it led to eventually to say between 66 and 67, it led to the demise of the original Match Game on NBC and Art Linkletter's House Party on CBS. But this would probably be after the vampire stuff. So I know that if you're looking at kind of like a complimentary one on the same network, which would have been earlier, would have been General Hospital, which debuted 2 or 3 years earlier. If you're looking for like a comparison between similar shows.
Yeah. I mean, was there something that was sort of doing the gothic-y, scary kind of, but we're not going to commit to anything too horrific?
Yeah, and plus, like, shows at the time, usually, like your primetime shows would usually do unless you're the Twilight Zone or Thriller or maybe even Hitchcock, you do okay, is it a ghost or isn't it? Is it just a random noise or isn't it?
It's
Is
like
it?
No, go on.
I was about to say, is it a random bag of money or is it Forrest Tucker's charitable endowment? I mean, you never know. That's how soap operas would usually do that.
I wonder if Forrest Tucker ever played golf with Dan Curtis, because you've heard the stories. So the sitcoms at the time at Christmas always did the Christmas episode where something magical would appear at the end, and they would always go, "Gee, maybe there really is a Santa." So yeah, I kind of wonder if Dark Shadows really had to find its own voice by going there, by finally committing to it.
No, the shows that I have up in front of me didn't have a vampire on it, but I'll read
No, we're talking about like Creepy House and Implication and stuff like that.
Well, they didn't have a Creepy House, but here's the top ranked shows. Number 1, Bonanza. Number 2, The Red Skelton Hour. Number 3, The Andy Griffith Show. Number 4, The Lucy Show. Number 5, The Jackie Gleason Show. Number 6, Green Acres.
Yeah, well, Green Acres had a creepy house. The Douglases lived in a creepy house, and I will not have you slander Green Acres like this, Joel. Do not slander Green Acres. No Green Acres slander.
Dactory. Number 7 is Bewitched, The Beverly Hillbillies, Gomer Pyle, USMC, which is the United States Marine Corps, The Virginian, The Lawrence Welk Show, The Ed Sullivan Show, The Dean Martin Show, Family Affair, number 6.
All of which are available on Tubi.
Yeah, at 16, The Smothers Brothers Comedy Hour, Friday Night Movies, Hogan's Heroes, 19, Walt Disney's Wonderful World of Color, 20, Saturday Night at the Movies, 21, Dragnet, 22, Get Smart, 23, Petticoat Junction, The Rat Patrol, 25, Daniel Boone, 26, Bob Hope, the Crystal Theater presents the Crystal Theater.
Let me make a counter argument. The freezing cold brought me back, or maybe the pain in my head. I woke up floating in black water with a sharp stab station over my eye.
Joel, you really went for it there. We couldn't stop you because I was talking about daytime
I had to break this out, Joel.
Well, I was just trying to read off what the shows were at the top rated shows.
And you did.
Yeah.
But we're talking about daytime TV.
Well, yes. Yeah, but I think, keep in mind that, Dark Shadows, the beginning episodes did have a gothic feel. I mean, they mentioned ghosts. I've been reviewing the episodes, as you guys know, going back through them. They do have, though we don't get a mention of Barnabas or a werewolf, we constantly get the reference to ghost, or, whether it's through joke or, Roger joking around about the widows, teasing Victoria, or you hear about Elizabeth or David even. David is more especially because the way David Hennessy performs certain aspects, it seems like he's hearing ghosts. Now, with this episode here, we're well past ghosts. We're at, we've had the Phoenix, we've seen ghosts. We have now a vampire, and here's Jason McGuire, who is Barnabas's first real victim here, and what a perfect victim to feed him than a character who's a piece of crap. I mean, you want in every way. Jason McGuire is the odd man out because who do you feed to the vampire?
Sure. You
Let's see.
realize that Barnabas is like sharing a lot about his past, with Willie and so on. He's really, and I think he's probably a little drunk from just Jason's blood. I mean, there's a lot of Jamesons going on in that guy's bloodstream.
Mm-hmm.
Well, keep in mind, he doesn't, in this episode, when he chokes Jason McGuire, he doesn't drink his blood. But you're right, he does confess a lot of his, talk about a lot of his past.
Yeah, I think we can. I think we can take it, especially since this is mid 1960s television, that if Barnabas killed Jason McGuire during the opening credits, he was drinking Jason's blood.
Barnabas got
a pretty good buzz.
Yeah, Barnabas got to eat. I mean, Willie probably came down and said, "Are you going to finish that?"
No, Willie actually went back to get some chicken legs because he's really big on Church's chicken legs.
You know what Mike Tyson said to Vincent Van Gogh, right? You gonna eat that?
Joel, do you know? Do you get the reference?
Oh, well, Vincent Van Gogh cut off his own ear, so yeah, I get the reference.
Right. Right.
And Mike Tyson bit on Evander Holyfield. I saw the fight.
Okay, good.
Okay, good. Yeah, I'm a boxing fan, by the way.
I love that.
I know. By the way, I when me and my wife I believe we were just dating, I took my wife to see the Muhammad Ali movie that starred Will Smith. So there's that.
I thought you were going to say you bit off her ear and ate it. That's why we only see her from here down,
But here's the thing, though, too, with
it's like a Russ Meyer movie over there.
With this movie, with this show, is that Willie, keep in mind, is in the room when Jason dies because he warned Jason, no, this is his coffin. And Jason's like, oh, enough of that. And he opens it and you see the hand and he chokes him to death. He kills him.
I tried to warn you.
Yeah, I tried to warn you.
I told you.
Yeah, you told me. You told me, Patrick.
No. I'm saying this is what Willie said to to Jason. It's like, don't open it. What do I need to put a sign on it saying "Do not open vampire inside"? You Irish, illiterate.
Well,
come on.
Well, keep in mind, Willie is trying to just buy Jason off with the jewels he has in his hand. He goes, "I'll get you more later. Just take these and get out of here before it's too late." He thinks the jewels are in the coffin, just like Willie thought there was all this jewelry in the coffin. So he opens the coffin and he gets a hand to the throat, just like Willie did.
You know what flew out at the end after all of that?
What's that?
Hope.
Yeah.
Hope flew out of that box, Pandora.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of which, another reason those Avatar movies are stupid. Who names a planet Pandora and expects anything good to happen? The entire source of humanity's misery, and you name a planet after it, and then you're surprised.
Yep, I can honestly say I have never seen an Avatar movie.
I've only saw the first one. It is the dumbest, most racist, condescending. Oh, it's awful. And what's funny about it is that James Cameron thinks he's being so incredibly politically correct, when in fact he makes one of the most tone-deaf racist films ever in its implications. It's impressive. Who can save the blue people but a white man in blueface?
Speaking about a movie that I rewatched, I finally got to rewatch The Right Stuff.
Oh God, I've been trying to get you to do a podcast on that forever.
I rewatched it today, actually. So,
what'd you think?
After, still a great movie. I mean, look, Sam Shepard, great actor, a bunch of great actors in this movie, but just a fabulous performance from start to finish. So, and I feel what The Right Stuff does, it does in its movie early on, but better than what Top Gun does later.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yes, but there are Joe McDokes episodes that do things better than Top Gun does later. It's not the highest bar for me. Um, uh, uh, but yeah, but About the Right Stuff, which is a good movie. What, what prompted you to watch this again?
I just decided, I had some free time. I had finished rewatching this episode 276. So it was free on YouTube, so I watched it.
It's a great film. It still works for teenagers too. I can put that on for a class and they love it. Even the parts that you would think they wouldn't. They're not big into expositions. The first day or so watching a movie is not so easy. The Right Stuff, they're in.
Yeah, it's a really, really great movie. With this episode, I like the sanitarium scenes that we get. We get Dr. Julie Hoffman's office, which we've seen before, but we get it here. And this time there's a breakthrough for Miss Catherine Lee Scott's character, Maggie Evans, who, by the way, narrates the opening of this episode. What did you guys think of this big scene where Dr. Dave Woodard shows Sarah Strawling to Maggie, and we have a breakthrough?
Well, now that they have, whoever he is out of the way, Bill the Butcher, now that he's dead, they can actually tell the story people want to see, which is the Barnabas story. They can go into that even more hardcore because he is your main character here. You're certainly your main antagonist for a while. And Willie is he's really shitty to Barnabas in this one. Barnabas is telling about his family story. And doesn't Willie say, gee, you sound kind of human there, Barnabas? What is it? Willie really casts some shade on Barnabas. What is it? Do you remember he has that one line in the mausoleum after Barnabas has talked about his family?
Yeah, he says, you almost sound Heaton and Barnabas. Fred finishes it. He says, human. And it's like, Jesus.
Yeah, because Barnabas is talking about the friend that he lost. And
yes.
Yeah.
And then Willie responds like that. It's like, well, no wonder
Willie
Barnabas
asked, was it Josette? And Barnabas says no before Josette. And he's hinting that the implication is it's Sarah.
Oh.
And that's what I like. It's Dark Shadows at this point, and I think this is where you see it moving forward, is it actually has a B plot, a solid A and a B. And we know now that we have it all in total, we know those two are going to intersect at some point. But you've got who's the little girl and Barnabas. And at some point we learn who the little girl is, and that kind of comes together just before we head back to 1795.
It's really a fun episode to watch too here, because when you're watching Dark Shadows for the first time, you're not sure what they're like. Are they going to be able to cure Maggie? And Dr. Hoffman, Grayson Hall's character takes a lot of bold risk to find out what the hell's going on.
Well, this reminds me, one of the things I really enjoyed about Barnabas and Dark Shadows when I was a kid and made it such a roller coaster is that until that Fangoria article came out, which was a few months into the show being broadcast on WAV in Louisville, I assumed it was going to follow a basic vampire story and he was going to get killed.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that he didn't, I forget what it's called. There's a certain type of tone, and I refer to it in the day book, and it's this tone that always sounds like it's descending, but it never resolves itself because they keep slipping in a higher tone under it, and then that one, because it's this interesting oral phenomenon. And Dark Shadows is kind of like that. It just keeps endlessly tumbling forward.
It's amazing. It's a massive expired on January 3rd.
Okay. Okay. Okay, we'll check. We'll get you another one. Okay.
Julie, is there anything we can do for you?
No, I haven't been feeling good. And then my one
Oh,
friend told me that someone at work tested positive for COVID, and I'm really hoping it's not that. Because
oh,
I had a really bad
Oh.
headache, and that's the way I got before when I had it before. Like my
Oh.
head hurt really bad, and I was freezing, and that's the way I
oh,
feel right
Julie.
now. But of course, I also have seasonal allergies too, so
We'll get you
I
another
don't know if
test.
it's that too or not.
We'll
You
get
know
you
what,
another
Julie?
test.
There is one symptom of COVID you're never going to have, and that's a loss of taste because we've met your husband and he's a classy guy.
Mm-hmm.
I have had the loss of smell and taste last time when I had COVID. Not tasting my husband, but tasting food.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
You know,
it's
I,
still like that was what two
2 years.
two almost 3 years ago that I
Yeah.
had COVID, like real bad, and I
mm.
still like my sense of smell and taste come and go still,
Did you
and my
get
appetite, my
did you get
loss of
your
appetite.
vax? Did you get
Huh?
vax?
You get
Did
back.
you get your vaccine?
No, I don't get the vaccines.
She got
I
they
don't want the shots.
they
I'm
That's okay.
good.
It's America. You can do
Mm-hmm.
that. Okay.
If I
they
don't need to be stuck, I ain't being stuck. I have an EpiPen. I told Joel you will use that sucker if I'm like going and can't breathe. Like stab my ass with that because I want to breathe.
yeah, she's
But
allergic to bees. She's allergic
like
to
if you don't
Wow.
bees.
have to stab me, then
Not
don't
the
stab me.
bees. Not the bees.
Yeah, she's allergic to
Yep, I'm
bees.
allergic to the bees. I found out the hard way when I was younger. I got stuck in the back of the head, and like, yeah, my eyes and throat swelled shut, and I all but suffocated in my sleep.
She was
They said
little.
about 10,
Oh.
15 more minutes if my mom would have waited to come wake me up.
Mm.
I probably would have suffocated in my sleep.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, I'm
And I'm
glad
just
she
like,
did.
that
Hmm.
was like, I think before I started kindergarten or right after I started kindergarten. I was that young. So I'm just like, they avoid them like the plague.
Yeah. What's you guys' favorite scene in this episode?
The obscene.
Sorry, babe.
It's all right.
Oh boy. Well, I mean, this is it's classic Ron Sprout writing because you've got the great scene at the beginning, with Jason getting it. You have the nice dialogue right after that with Willie and Barnabas. You've got that, lovely and poetic scene with hi Ju oh, you're with the cat. I thought you were waving at me. You've got I mean, really every scene in this episode's swell. Um, but gosh, just the incredibly sad, forlorn quality that the end has with Sarah, just kind of after the context of her being Barnabas's real friend, and she just emerges from the dark. Oh, it's just it's great. It's sort of writing only we can get from Ron Sprout.
Yeah. Gordon, what's your favorite scene, man?
Um, I'd have to say the scene with Julia and Woodard just before they talk to Maggie, that kind of back and forth about what's going on. Because I like that it's a very Dark Shadows, especially early on, doesn't get a lot of credit for like the non supernatural scenes. Like the people in the town scenes, and I love those people in the town scenes very early on.
Yeah. My favorite scene is similar to Gordon's. I like the fact when they reveal the name of Maggie reveals the name of Sarah. It's a huge step for reveal. You don't know what they're going to do with it quite yet. If you know what's going to happen when you watch Dark Shadows for the first time, but this is such a cool written episode, and hey, it has a lot of dark tone because you have the death of Jason McGuire, you have them burying Jason McGuire in the family mausoleum, you have the mention of Barnabas's best friend, who we know was Sarah. I love the scene too where Sarah is standing by side Barnabas's coffin with Jason's hat. Um, it's just so cool the way Ron Sprout wrote this episode, the way Lewis Swift filmed it. Very, very, very good from beginning to
Mm.
end. What do you got? Is there anything you guys want to add about this episode before we go?
I
you
can't
know,
think of
it's
anything.
good. I think we've covered it. It's a nice, it's a lovely, kind of period at the end of the Jason McGuire sentence, and a great way to step into, I think, the show coming into its own, with the supernatural is going to be taking the center focus.
Now tomorrow we're doing The Shadow.
Yeah.
But is Saturday good for a Dark Shadows video for you guys, or?
Yeah. I'm
Gordon?
okay with that.
Sure.
It's Gordon's turn to pick for Saturday. If you want to.
Well, I actually do. I'd like to do episode 915.
Okay.
9:15 it is.
9:15 Saturday. Tomorrow, guys, it's going to be me, Gordon Dymowski, Patrick McCray, Susie, Don Schmidt. We're going to cover the 1994 movie, The Shadow. And link to Gordon Dymowski's Amazon page is going to be in the description box. Link to Patrick McCray's The Dark Shadows 8-book club is going to be in the description box. And this little lovely pen, my buddy John Philip Betancourt got for me. It's really, really cool. It's the Jonathan Frid club pen. It's really cool. Link, since we're talking Dark Shadows and he is writing another Gothic blog, link to Benight and Beguile is going to be in the description box. Go read that if you haven't already. Guys, you have a lovely, lovely night.
Night all.